Like, honestly, I'm going to keep showing you the examples, but how much proof do you need that this pattern is the pattern that was hidden in plain sight? But now I've pointed you in the right direction, and I can guarantee you that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hey guys, it's me, Zeus, and in today's video I'm going to tell you guys the hidden secret of the ICT 2022 mentorship. If you did not watch my previous video on market structure shifts yet, I would highly suggest you to first watch that video before watching this one. So let's begin with the second episode first. ICT shared a screenshot of all the trades that he took within a particular session. For this video I'm going to focus on the last trade that he took, the short one. If we dive into the chart example that he showed, we can see that the pattern appeared and that this was his short confirmation. You might be wondering, what is the pattern? Well, the pattern that I'm referring to is the one that I also showed in the market structure shifts video. And the pattern, if you would want to notice, is simply, if we're bearish, we want to see a purge on liquidity, then we want to see a bullish fair value gap get rebalanced by a wick or by a candle, doesn't really matter. And then we want to see that candle or wick, which is called an intermediate term low, get broken by a fair value gap. And that's our short confirmation on our demo accounts. If we zoom into the 10-15 mark, we can see that sell stops have been raided. There is a bullish narrative in play. We can see that the fair value gap breaks an intermediate term high. What was his long opportunity? He longed the fair value gap. If we dive into the fourth episode, we can see the same pattern repeat again. We saw a intermediate term low get broken. What does the market do? It returns back to the fair value gap that got created while the intermediate term low got broken, and then the market sells off. Notice that these chart examples are not all on the same time frame. In episode 8, ICT shared a Euro JPI chart, and we can see the same pattern. It isn't that clear now, but still a intermediate term high gets broken by a fair value gap. What does the market do? It returns back to that fair value gap before going higher. In episode 9, it was a pretty obvious example. The market broke a intermediate term high with a fair value gap. What does the market do? It returns to that fair value gap before going higher. In episode 10 we saw a purge on buy side liquidity. Then we saw a market structure shift created by an FEG. What does the market do? It returns to this fair value gap before dropping lower. In episode 11 the intermediate term low wasn't that clear, but it was still there. It was a full candle close. The market breaks this intermediate term low by a fair value gap, and then the market returns back to that fair value gap before dropping down. In episode 12 we can see it appear again. A fair value gap breaks multiple intermediate term lows. So what does the market do? It returns back to this fair value gap before dropping down. In episode 14, ICT shared a live trade execution on his demo account we can see that he went long within that blue box because he had a bullish narrative and a FEG broke a intermediate term high, so that was his long confirmation and the trade panned out. In episode 18, ICT shared a EU chart. We can see that a fair value gap broke a intermediate term low. What does the market do? It returns back to this fair value gap before dropping down. In episode 19, we can see that ICT took a long opportunity. We had a bullish narrative in play. We saw that a fair value gap broke intermediate term highs. What did the market do? It returned back to this fair value gap before going higher. ICT then went into the 1 minute chart after he took his first buy on his demo account, and we can see the pattern repeat again. A intermediate term high got broken by a fair value gap. What does the market do? It returns back to this fair value gap before going higher. In episode 20, ICT shared a EU chart. We can see intermediate term lows get broken by a fair value gap. What does the market do? It returns back to this fair value gap before dropping down. In episode 21, ICT shared another chart. It was a bit stretched out, so I'm just gonna zoom in, but you can already see what I'm hinting at. We can see a intermediate term low get broken by a fair value gap. The market rebalances this fair value gap before dropping down. In episode 22, we can see multiple intermediate term lows get broken by a few fair value gaps. The market returns back to these fair value gaps before dropping down. In episode 27, the market returns into a higher time frame POI, a fair value gap. Then we can see that intermediate term highs are being created. Once the market broke these highs with a fair value gap, ICT went long. In episode 34, it seems like the chart was pretty choppy, but in reality it wasn't. We can see a intermediate term high get broken. I'm going to zoom in for you. By a fair value gap. What does the market do? It returns back to this fair value gap and a bullish breaker before going higher. In episode 39, ICT shared his son's Caleb, his model, his trading approach. And if you take a look at this chart, you should see what I explained in this video appear. A buy side liquidity pool has been purged. Then we see a fair value gap break a intermediate term low. And because the narrative or bias was already bearish, this fair value gap should be rebalanced before dropping down. And what does the market do? It does that. Light bulb? Now I've pointed you in the right direction, and I can guarantee you that once you see it, you can't unsee it because it's everywhere. So that basically sums up this video. I hope I was able to point you guys in the right direction. I hope I was able to create a light bulb moment for yourself. Because honestly, once I saw this pattern repeat over and over again, once I rewatched the whole 2022 mentorship and I saw ICT not talk about it, but still point to it, I was shocked. I was honestly, it was a game changer in my understanding of how the algo delivers price. Now it's up to you to go into old market data to see if that's what I'm pointing at is actually appearing in the live charts. If you guys like this video, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like or a comment. All the feedback is appreciated, even negative feedback, because that helps me grow and learn. I wish you all a great day and good luck in your development. Peace out.